Yo, everybody, what is going on? It is good to see you all again. Although I see nobody, I see my camera and nothing but. This is T Ray from H10 Hanshin Tigers English News coming at you with another series preview. Today is August the 18th, 2020, and the Hanshin Tigers are looking to make some progress and get themselves above 500 this week as they head to Tokyo and face the Yomiuri Giants and later this week the Yakult Swallows. But we'll be back for that one later. Right now, we want to talk about the Yomiuri Giants. And before I get into the preview, let me just tell you about something that happened to me earlier this week. I was laying in bed one day. It was still early in the morning, and all of a sudden I heard this song in my ears, and I thought I was still sleeping, but it went something like this. Tobase haruka toku shori no tame ni. Yeah, Justin Bohr song. This is so cool. I can't believe it. Am I dreaming or am I really awake? And then I heard another song. Left e right home run, Jerry. And I was like, yeah, Jerry Sands. So somebody in this house is a Jerry Sands and Justin Bohr fan besides me. This is so cool. And I was getting kind of excited and I was starting to wake up. And then I heard this song all of a sudden. This must be a dream. A bad dream. No. Stop it. Stop it. And my son who was just kind of learning piano and just kind of tinkering around, he started to play the Yomiuri Giants chant song. And I was like, no, we don't want to give them any chances. They don't need any chances. And we don't need this music in our house anymore. So I got out of bed, I ran downstairs, and I scolded. No, I'm just kidding. I told my son, hey, man, cut it out. Anyways, that's just a little story. This really happened, though. It truly happened in our house. So now the Tigers went 1-1-1 against the Carp over the weekend. It was kind of disgraceful. We got 2 hit on Friday, and we lost 6-0. Then we came back and won nicely. I think it was 10-2 on Saturday with a couple of nice home runs. And then Sunday, we had a 2-0 lead in the first inning and didn't add on to that lead. And the errors caught up to us. Gunkel gave up a run in the 6th. And then who was it in the 8th? I think Iwazaki gave up a run in the 8th, and that was thanks to an error. So we ended up tying that one, 1-1-1 for the series. We should have at least won 2. And now we face the Giants, who are on a 2-game losing streak. You know, we really have to thank our brothers over in Nagoya. The Dragons have gone 4-1-1 against the Giants over the past 2 weekends, pulling us a huge solid. And we've got to do something like that against the Giants as well. We've got to find a way to beat them and beat them good. The problem is, see, the Dragons face the back end of the Giants' weak rotation, and we always get the front end. And in fact, Hara has pushed forward his rotation so that we've got Sugano today, Mercedes tomorrow, and Togo on Thursday. Their best 3 starters. Thanks a lot, buddy. And then we have got the back end of our rotation going. Fortunately, one of those guys is Haruto Takahashi, who is being called up for today's game. And then Onelki Garcia on Wednesday. And then Thursday, we are going to see Koyo Aoyagi. And so it's not a weak back end by any means. I mean, our rotation is actually not too bad this year. It's really starting to take shape. Other news is that Haraguchi has been farmed and will be replaced by Hiroki Uemoto. That in part is because Haraguchi has not been used, and our second baseman committed 2 errors, one for each of Kai Ueda and Takahiro Kumagai in that last game against the Carp. And before we jump into anything else, I'm going to tell you guys straight up, the key to this series for us is that we have got to control our defense. Okay, there's a couple of things here. First of all, the Giants are the best in the Central, best in NPB right now with just 12 errors on the season. Unbelievable, because second place is 18. And we, dear Hanshin Tigers, at one point we were doing quite well. I think when we were 2-10 on the season, we had only committed 2 errors at that point. Well, since then, the wins have piled up, but so have the errors. We've got 37, which is far and away worst in NPB. Here's the point. We can't commit errors because when we do that, especially in Tokyo against the Giants, it adds extra unneeded pressure for our pitchers as well as for the fielders, as well as for the batters who are going to have to try to come back from those errors. The other thing is that even though the Giants are struggling, and we'll get to that soon as far as their hitters go, we have a tendency to give up the long ball against them, and they lead NPB in home runs. So they're going to hit home runs during this 3-game series. I'm not saying the key is to stop that. The key is to not put guys on base in front of those home run hitters, and that being guys like Maru and Okamoto, who hit the long ball quite consistently. So we've got to avoid unnecessary walks. I'm talking to you, Mr. Aoyagi. We have got to avoid errors, and I'm talking to you, Mr. Middle of the infield, corners of the infield, outfielders, everybody basically. But even our pitchers are quite bad when it comes to errors. So that's the key. And if we can do that, and if their home runs can be limited to solo shots for the most part, I think we're going to be okay. But also those errors, right? That's the big thing. If we can get out of this series by with committing just like one error in those 3 games, and I say that with a little bit of a chuckle because as if that's going to happen, we should be okay. I don't know how we're going to do against Sugano. Mercedes, we did okay against last time. And Togo, we didn't do so well against last time. So here's the only good news is that Sugano is pitching on shorter rest, and also Jerry Sands is batting .667 on Tuesdays, as if he's going to be able to maintain that, but it's still kind of good news, at least for the time being. So looking at the Giants starting guys, they have been batting Sakamoto leadoff, or at least they did on Sunday, and he's only batting like 230 on the season. Maru is only batting 250 on the season. Okamoto started the season batting like in the upper 350s or higher. Looked like he could have contended for a Triple Crown. He's down to 270 now. So a lot of their guys are on a downward trend. Gerardo Parra, who hit 1 or 2, I think 2 home runs against us in that opening weekend series, is down on the farm. So we've got a chance here. We honestly do. And we have to win 2 out of 3 at the very least. But honestly, because we split that series against the Carp, we really have to go 2-0-1 as a bare minimum here. I think we currently sit 5.5 back of the Giants. If it's any more than that by the end of this series, we're in big trouble. We really need to start to bridge that gap. We cannot let it get any bigger. And even though the season is still fairly young, as I keep saying, we're almost at the halfway point. The Tigers tend to swoon later in the season, and we need to be within a couple of games near the end of the season in order to be in striking distance. So we need to bridge that gap now, ASAP. All right, that's all I got for you. I hope you enjoyed this. Remember to subscribe to the channel. It's one of these places here. Watch the free Japanese language lesson. The rest of the Japanese language lessons are available only to patrons, and you can go down in the video description and find out how you can become a patron for our Patreon, where all the good stuff is happening. Thanks for watching, guys, and enjoy the series. Try not to get any ulcers, and I will try as well. And I'll catch you next time.